Welcome back to the Frisco ISD podcast, and welcome to the 25-26 school year. I'm Tori Overton, and we're excited to kick off another year of sharing stories, insights, and conversations that highlight the people, programs, and opportunities that make Frisco ISD such a special place. In today's episode, we're pulling back the curtain on one of the district's most unique opportunities for parents, community members, and those who are interested in running for school board, the Frisco ISD Insight Program. To help us explore this program, we're joined by Ashley Sine, Frisco ISD Director of Community Relations. We'll also hear from Cyndi Arakas, a parent and recent graduate of the program, who will share her perspective and takeaways from the experience.
Your favorite here. The Frisco schools are full of cheaters.
Big dreams start with strong foundations. Frisco ISD is excited to offer a tuition-based pre-K program at select campuses. Learn more by visiting friscoisd.org/pre-K. Ashley and Cyndi, thank you so much for being here today. Before we get started, I'd love for our listeners to get to know you each a little bit better. We'll start with Ashley. Could you start by sharing a little bit about your role in the district and what excites you the most about the Insight program?
Sure. I have one of the coolest roles in the district, I think. I'm both the Director of Community Relations and the Director of the Frisco Education Foundation. So that means I really connect our community with our students and our teachers. At the end of the day, that's what both roles do. We work with the community to bring in places like Frisco Family Services, Refresh, Fast Packs, Love Packs, and so many more. PTA threads. I was going to save that for you, but Cyndi's sitting here with me, but I want to mention them too. So we connect our students with the community and teachers too. And then on the FEF side, a lot of people know about the scholarships. And then we've got the teacher grants that are coming up pretty soon also. And we have our STEAM Camp Mindbender. And then we also do something really unique for an education foundation. We fund student startup businesses through the incubator program. So we could probably have an episode on all of those things. So I'll just kind of stop there and we'll talk about Insight today in a few minutes.
All right, and we're also joined by Cyndi. So can you tell us a little bit about your history with the district?
So I am a mom of two girls, and they are both at Centennial High School. One is a senior, so she has been in the district since she was a kindergartner. And then I have a sophomore girl at Centennial. I have been involved with the girls' school and PTA ever since that they started in kindergarten, and it just kind of has evolved over the years. And I landed on Frisco Council of PTAs probably, I think it was like almost 10 years ago, which serves all of the PTAs in the district. And I just spent the last 2 years as president of that council. And in that role, I was able to work very closely with Ashley and Terry West, who actually serves on our council, but learned a lot about the district that way, but also served the district in a vast amount of areas. And then now that I'm not in that role, I've kind of more on the Booster Club route too. So kind of learned a little bit about all the ways to volunteer within the district.
Very fun. So Insight was kind of a perfect fit for you.
It was great. I loved it.
Well, speaking of Insight, Ashley, can you start by explaining what FISD Insight is and why the district launched this program?
Sure. So Insight launched several years ago. I don't even know the first year, but it was quite a while ago. And it was originally designed for people who were interested in running for school board. And so they got this program together and wanted to teach just a little bit more before you gave your time and your money to run for an elected position with the school district. So it kind of evolved over then. I think it's still a great program. So right now it's designed for anyone who's in Frisco ISD, who maybe you have a child going through the school district, maybe you had children go through the school district, maybe you don't at all, but you're a taxpayer and you want to know how your tax dollars are being spent in the school district. It's designed to let you have a behind-the-scenes look. You hear from all of our district leaders from every department you can think of, and even departments you didn't know we had, and they come in and tell you about all the logistics that go behind all their decisions, right? So there is a reason for the admin building. There is a reason that we have all of these directors and managing directors and executive directors in our IST positions, because this district runs so well, and it's because of our amazing teachers, our amazing principals, our amazing counselors, all of our staff at our school, and the admin building, and you really get a chance to kind of see what makes those decisions tick. So that's why the program started. I think it's a great connection to our community. to let them come in and ask us any question you have. So, and in fact, if you're someone who has a lot of questions, we really want you in this program.
That's really pretty incredible. On that note, the program highlights so many of our different departments from transportation to fine arts. So why is it so important to cover such a vast range of what goes on here in Frisco ISD?
You might have a specific interest, right? And you're really going to hear so much more than you ever imagined from that. There might be departments out there that you couldn't even imagine that we had. So a lot of people, oddly, forget we have an HR department. So it's really nice to hear how all that works. And communications and community relations, the one I represent, is kind of surprising. And all the districts around here don't necessarily have that department. So what is it that we do? And we get to share that with you for a while. So there are so many different interest areas, but even if you're not interested in an area, you're going to learn a lot about how the district works together to make everything run so smoothly. And sometimes when it's not smooth, we have a plan in place for that too.
Hey, that's all important too.
You'll learn all about it that day.
So what have you learned or noticed about the impact of the program on, its participants after the program has completed?
Ooh, that's a great question. So I'm sitting here with someone who completed it last year, and I can't wait for her to explain a little more about it in just a minute. But at the end of every session, it's really fun to watch everyone leave or sit there and kind of finish up their survey, because we always ask them, what they thought, did we answer everything, all the fun survey questions. And they almost always come up to us and say, I had no idea. This was really great information. I wouldn't have even thought to ask that question. And they really feed off of each other's perspectives. I think that's one of my favorite parts to see. We've got a different class every year, and their perspectives are all a little different. And, sometimes people come in thinking they already know everything, and that's okay, because this is the perfect place to ask questions. And maybe you did know a lot of it, right? But I think that's my favorite part, is at the very end of every single session, people are just kind of wide-eyed going, wow, that was really cool, or that was really interesting. And then walking out and being really eager to come back that next time. So I am excited to talk to Cyndi about everything, about, why she applied. She and I have worked together closely for 2 years, whether it was on the FEF side, but really I came into my role and she was our new PTA council president. So I got to know her pretty quick, and we worked through a lot of fun stuff together. I love PTA. I love what you guys do, and it was really fun to see what you were doing. So I thought, wow, she knows a lot about this district, and here she is applying for Insight. So, Cyndi, what motivated you to apply for FISD Insight in the first place?
So I think it's twofold for me. Number one being that, in my role as Frisco Council of PTA president, I knew a lot, but I also knew I didn't know everything, right? So when you are serving a community or an organization, I feel like knowledge is power. So for me, I felt like going through the Insight program was just going to help me understand more of who I'm serving and also who am I working with. You meet a ton of people in different departments that I would have never crossed in my PTA role, but I was really excited to be able to understand each particular part of the department. But then the other flip side of it, as a parent, you said something earlier about meeting the different departments, and you mentioned something about transportation. And the first thing that I thought of was the peace of mind I have. If there's a snowstorm, I understand what the district's doing to manage that and what's managing with transportation. So as a parent, I feel like this class gives you a peace of mind knowing the background information that, the district's going to be able to handle this, and this is how. So yes, it helped me on my volunteer side for sure. But as a parent, I feel like it gives you a sense of calming, lack of better words, and peace of mind, knowing that when a situation arises, that there's all these people and all these departments supporting that, whatever happens in that moment.
Yeah, that's really great. Yeah, I love hearing it. See, something new I get to hear now.
That's a great answer for sure.
Great, yeah. So, okay, well then.
It's truthful.
I believe you.
Yeah.
Going into the program, what did you expect, and how did the reality compare?
So truthfully, didn't have any real expectations, but I think the biggest thing was learning as much as, I mentioned it earlier, but I really learned so much more and in great detail. And both my girls play sports, and it was actually, and we'll talk about this in a little bit, but that was probably my favorite day, because I was able to learn so much more about what interests my girls and how that works and all the people that go into the different athletic departments. But I was also surprised with who I was in the class with. all the different stakeholders that are there. You have everyone from other parents. I saw other PTA volunteers, but you see business owners that are there. So it's neat to see that there's more than just parents that want to take this program and understand the community that they're living in.
That's so true too.
Yeah.
I mean, it comes back to that part where I was talking about how all the different perspectives in every class. It's
Yeah.
just really cool to watch you guys feed off of each other. So was there a particular session or department, you don't have to say mine, or department spotlight that surprised you or changed your perspective?
I think the two that pop into head the most, and I know I love your department.
Oh,
but,
I know.
I mean, you know. But the one that CTE, that was amazing. I had never, my girls at that point had not taken classes there. So I had never really been in that building aside from some PTA meetings.
Such a cool
But
building.
it is so much. It is amazing. And so they gave us a tour and they walk you through all the different areas of that building. And it is mind blowing that that is what's offered to our students within the district.
Yes.
So that was, I think that was really eye opening for me was CTE. And then the second piece I mentioned earlier was athletics, just because that's what my girls are involved in and that's what I know. But I learned so much more. And the big takeaway that I got, like I knew that we had this, student opportunity model within Frisco ISD. I knew, like when you talk to other parents, you know that people moved here because there's 12 high schools. And so it makes smaller class sizes and it gives kids more opportunity. But Frisco ISD really, truly buys into that. That is not something they're just saying. Like everything that they spoke about that day was like the opportunity that the kids get between fine arts and athletics. And I gave a perfect example was, our varsity soccer goalie is also our drum major. And you're not going to find that in another district. Nope. And everybody, and my girls both play two sports. And when I was growing up, that was, not something that they wanted to support was, dual, sport athletes. But there hasn't been a time where anyone has said, we're not going to figure that out. It's always, yep, we're going to figure it out. And it really is awesome to keep hearing that this many years later, that is still what we're driving here in Frisco ISD.
Yeah, I really like how we keep that athletics and fine arts piece together because they do such a great job of working together, even in that session, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, totally.
I mean, they refer to each other back and forth because that's where a lot of the schedule the difficulty in scheduling comes up, right? And they talk about how they'll talk to the orchestra director and the football, whoever it is. So.
Well, it's also not, like we have such talented students,
We do,
sure.
And
I think that it's always like with that many schools, are you going to lose talent in something? And you don't, like we have the most talented musicians, wonderful athletes. So that was one of my favorite days for sure.
Definitely. Even as a staff member, I learn something new every year. I think it's fun.
So, what do you think is the biggest takeaway parents and community members get from completing Insight?
I think for me, like I mentioned this earlier, knowledge is power. So really, truly understanding your student potentially could be here for 13 years. So really understanding the district your child is, in, I feel like there's nothing better as a parent to truly understand the intricate details and the background of what goes into making a school district run. I also think too, if you are not involved and not seeking that knowledge and you are on social media, I feel like there's a lot of misconceptions that happen on social media. There tends to be a social media panic, like what's going to happen? What's the school going to do? But if you're able to take a step back and say, you know what, I know what they're going to do, I think that gives you peace of mind as a parent. But I also think the more people that take this class, it's the more people speaking how the district works and helping. I don't know how it's like the sense of panic that can happen when, weather comes about or whatever situation arises, knowing that the district has a plan for that.
I can totally understand that perspective. So for the both of you, how do programs like this build stronger partnerships between our schools and our community?
Sure, I can start. I think if you have an engaged community, your schools are only going to be stronger, right? So same goes for our city on the other side. So in our city and our schools work together so well. That's one of the most unique things that I saw when I came over here to Frisco ISD. We work together really well as a full community. And if we are open to those questions that people have, I just really think that we can all sit down and have good conversations with the smart questions. But we offer this program it's open to anyone in our community. You don't have to be selected and by your principal or whatever to come over here. This is a completely open program. So if you are interested, apply. We can only do 30 a year, but we're going to do our best to have you get into our program as best as possible.
So a big thing for us in PTA is like just engaging families. And so at any time, that's a big priority of ours within PTAs, because we want everyone to feel there's a place at their school. And I think, and I know I keep saying it, but we really believe knowledge is power. So, the more that the families know about the school and the district, the more that they're off to feel comfortable, to feel engaged, and to come to the campus. And then the other side of it for me in PTA is knowing where there needs to be help, right? So like knowing where as a campus, this is where we can help as a PTA, the school, because now I have a little bit more knowledge of funding and the budget. I mean, there's a whole budget class and they go through in detail. This is what we get from taxes. This is what we get. This is where we need it. And so understanding the numbers and truly understanding the numbers, it helped me go back and tell my PTA presidents, and we have 73 PTAs, and say, hey guys, this is a strong need. This is where we can help each of our campuses.
Yeah. Well, and also on that same note, you don't have to be a parent to join Insight, do you?
No, you don't. No. Absolutely not.
When I even mentioned earlier too, like community businesses, like, as a PTA, we are really wanting to like partner and connect with businesses. And I think that's just in tune, like partnering with the district, right? Like we can't do without what we do without community businesses and local businesses, but that's in turn to serve the district. So for a community business to want to go through it and understand the district is a no-brainer to me.
Right. And you had mentioned CTE earlier too. So if you are a business here, we have some amazing talent in our programs. And so we do work with several businesses around for internships or practicums, all kinds of fun stuff. So come check it out. Something in Insight will definitely interest you, and you will walk away with a mountain of knowledge.
You will, and you also learn too. I would be remorse not to mention this: how authentic the leadership is within the district. Like no matter what department you're going and what you're seeing, they are standing up there, they are teaching you, and they are genuine and authentic, and they want to have conversations with you, so you end up building relationships that you probably didn't think you had, So I think that's another thing that stood out was the amazing people that work within the district and how authentic they are.
Yeah, thank you.
So what would you say to someone who thinks they already know enough about the district and they kind of determine they don't need to participate in this program?
I mean, I would think I would just guide them. I just think there is so much more. I don't want to shortchange what knowledge someone has, but I can tell you, I thought I had a lot. I've been involved for a really long time, and I still learned a ton. And so for me, if there is someone, and they might know more than I do, I still think that threshold is greater than they think, because there is so much more that you are able to learn in departments, like Ashley said earlier, that I didn't even know were special departments. I mean, it's true. I don't think that is a knock on me in terms of not knowing. I just think it's a huge district, and it takes a lot of departments, and it was so neat to be able to learn a little bit about all of them.
Yeah, and I'm going to go ahead and add to that also, because you're not going to walk away with every single detail memorized, right? But what you learn in that process is there is a department for that. There is a staff member for that. They do have a process for that. I think that's what is so important to walk away with from Insight, is knowing that you can trust this process, knowing that we have the right people in place to get to that decision. And if it's a new emergency or a new thing that's come up, that someone is over at that district and over with Frisco ISD and handling it.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, so if you have listened to Cyndi and myself and you are really excited about signing up for Insight, I hope that's you. Go ahead and find us on Frisco ISD, search Insight, and you will find that our application closes September 25th. So get on there and apply soon. Our classes actually start on October 3rd. So we've got a few other Fridays in there. So if you want to give a few of your Friday mornings, we go from 8 o'clock until noon. And all the dates are listed on our website. So you can go ahead and review that schedule and make sure you can make this happen. We realize some of you might have to miss one or two here and there, but we'd really like for you to be there. The unique part that we added this year is usually we only do about 5 or 6 classes. But we added a couple this year and it's kind of an extra board boot camp type of approach, right? So we go through all of our normal Insight classes, and then we tacked on a couple of more in January and February. And those are more designed if you're interested in running for school board. And even if you're not interested in running for school board, you still have that option to go to those classes and hear more about it. Maybe you're not interested right now, but maybe you have a plan later. So we would love for you to ask your questions, come hear from our departments, come hear from our leadership. And I think it's a great program. I think you would really get a lot out of it.
No, I agree. And I do think the piece that you said that the dates are on the website was really nice for me as well. Just having 2 kids and trying to manage, you know, all the things, knowing the dates ahead of time that I could commit to those is super helpful.